and they can't be babysat 24/7.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing the weird eccentric fucking the weird
eccentricities.
You see their fucking weirdness, the dumb shit. Hip hop anonymous. Welcome to A Cast with No Name. We are your hosts. I'm Jay.
And I'm Matt.
This is episode 5, Monday, May 2nd, 2022. This episode, we will discuss the 2022 Netflix films, The Bubble and Windfall, plus some other shit. But first.
Yeah, I finished The Americans and Ozark.
Nice.
That's what I did this week. Started up Stranger Things again.
Cool.
That's coming out at the end of the month.
How was The Americans?
Very good. I recommend it. It's only, I think, 6 seasons, 10 episodes a season. The finale was good, very satisfying. Character arcs were good. Acting was great. Script was good.
Did you feel like they left anything open or anything they didn't address?
No. I thought every story arc kind of was tightly buttoned up. There was one little thing that they kind of left open, but it was meant to be left open, which was satisfying. So it's a very solid TV show, and it's well worth your time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
You?
The only thing that I watched other than The Bubble and Windfall, of course, was Winning Time. Just staying up to that today on that.
That has been getting a lot of pushback from people who they're portraying in the show, particularly Jerry West. He is not a fan of the portrayal of himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was the previous coach before Westhead and
I think so.
Pat Riley.
Well, Jerry West was a player.
Yeah, and I think they had him as a coach or something.
I think he was the coach of the Lakers.
Yeah, for a little bit.
I don't know who's playing him though. It's not Jason Segel.
No, it's the guy who did the shit, John Connor. Jason
Clark.
Yeah.
So Jerry West was not a fan of
Okay.
Jason Clark's portrayal, which is probably not Jason Clark's fault. It's just the writers.
No, because I think Jason Clark's really good in the show.
He's a good actor.
Actually, everyone in the show is really good.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure everyone's top notch.
But
I don't know. You've watched it. I haven't. So Jerry West didn't like. I guess there's a scene where he has like a tirade and throws some stuff, and
yeah.
Maybe,
I mean, it's. Yeah,
he just seems like an angry guy.
He does. He seems like his character at least seems like he doesn't know what he wants out of life. But he does have an anger or like a chip on his shoulder. And it explores that a little bit. It doesn't go too deep into it, but it has him winning the championship and just to where he gets that brief satisfaction of success, and then it immediately goes away within seconds. And he's back to being pissed or like, okay, now what next? What next? Kind of to where he's not satisfied with his accomplishments in life.
Really?
That's what it kind of. But it just seems like he's lost as a person to where he doesn't. Is his character? It feels like he doesn't know what he wants out of life, what he wants to do. He knows from what I get from his character, he knows he loves basketball. He wants to be a part of basketball, but he doesn't know how he wants to be a part of basketball because he had the option of in the show. He had the option of coaching this new team that was being pulled together under the new ownership, and he was given carte blanche as far as budget, get the players you need to get a championship team, and he kind of pulled back from that opportunity, partly probably because of fear to where, they address this in the show to where, you just want to have anyone to blame if you fail. But he still sticks around throughout the whole season to where he's not a coach. He doesn't work in the front office. I guess he does in a way.
So what's he there for then?
Moral support for transition, stuff like that. But he just keeps just helping out, kind of. Like
even though he doesn't need to.
Kind of there is a consultant a little bit.
Okay.
And
so he has a consultant role.
A little bit, yeah, to where he doesn't have like an official position, but he travels with the team. He's he helps out with some of the administrative stuff in the front office without actually having a real position there.
Right. Do they portray him as like incompetent?
No. They just portray him as, I mean,
unhinged.
Nah, just yeah. I mean, I honestly angry.
Just angry.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he has a problem with.
But I mean, he just like in it. Watching him, I don't think, oh, that's a very angry person. Part of his actions, I'm like, yeah, he's not happy with something. Like he needs to figure something out. But
that's an issue with shows like this, where you're portraying people that are either living or their relatives are still alive. So you're gonna have to take any form of liberty that you do take, it's going to be met with some sort of criticism.
Yeah, and that's the first thing they have, like right before the credits at the end of every episode, is that this is based off real people, but creative license was taken in the retelling of the story, kind of a thing.
Sure,
because it is based off of, I think there was a book written in the '80s called Winning Time.
Okay,
and the show is based off that book.
Was it like some creative liberties were taken, except for all the trains that Magic Johnson had on all those groupies? That's totally true.
That's probably just like as the print gets smaller further down the screen, which they don't pull back on that at all.
Oh, they don't. So they go in heavy in the paint on like Magic Johnson's sexcapades.
Yeah, they just. I mean, he wakes up randomly with 3 chicks around him, or he goes to a whorehouse and he's just banging chicks left and right. And
no kidding.
So yeah, they don't sugarcoat that at all. They don't.
It's funny because Magic Johnson hasn't come out saying that he doesn't like the portrayal of.
Well, I don't think he really could. I mean, how do you get HIV? Well, it wasn't sharing needles.
Shocker.
Yeah. So, but I mean, and I don't feel like they've painted anybody in an unnatural light, at least from my perspective. And I don't know these people at all. Right. I mean, I knew of Magic Johnson.
Oh, you're a huge sports fan, though.
Oh yeah,
yeah. The Green Bay Mermen versus the Detroit, Sabres.
Oh yeah, soccer. I mean, all of it.
It's all good stuff.
Yeah, it's great, and America's pastime. But I don't think anyone's portrayed bad. It's just people are portrayed as real people,
right? With flaws.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's what makes the show interesting, because it's what I'm enjoying out of the show is the different characters interacting and looking at the obstacles that these characters are presented with and seeing how they overcome them, which I'm sure hopefully is based somewhat in reality. And because I'm sure hopefully some of the business thinking or what they actually had to do is probably correct.
Sure. Well, and Adam McKay's a pretty good. I like his writing, and all the actors in it I like a lot.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
So I mean,
it's good.
Yeah, and I don't mind it. Like I haven't walked away from the show thinking person's kind of an asshole.
Sure.
Like I want to be around that person or whatever. I mean, everyone is. I mean, when you're in that field, I mean, everyone's super competitive.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
People are going to get angry. But. Yeah, it's weird. Is he the only one that's kind of pushed back on the show
that I know so far? Like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar hasn't. He doesn't seem to be a particular fan of it, but he's not overtly saying that his portrayal was inaccurate or just the overall story in general was inaccurate. But Jerry West is definitely saying that I've never acted that way. It's a complete misnomer of anything that I've ever done. It's just completely inaccurate. He's just, I don't know, being Jerry West.
Yeah.
Old man about it.
So
what is the series going to conclude? Are they just working towards like the end of Magic Johnson's career or the end of like a particular year and season?
So at the beginning of the show, they had a clip from '91 or whenever it was.
Okay. When he came out with the announcement?
When he came out, because he was in the doctor's office. Yeah. And then it goes all the way back to 1979.
Okay.
But this season so far took place from pretty much right before the NBA draft, and where Jerry Buss bought the Lakers. And now at the end of this season, it's we just got done with playoffs, and it's going into the finals with the 76ers and the Lakers.
Okay.
So it looks like if they do it correctly and it's a successful show, they could they could do one season of television for one season of basketball up to that point.
You think that's where they're headed?
I don't know. I mean, if there's enough legs on it, I mean, I think that was the idea with Mad Men at the beginning, was to have started in the 1960, and I think they originally wanted to have each season of Mad Men would be each year. And as the seasons progressed, they kind of had the years go from like 67 to 68 and 68 to 69 to kind of wrap it up. But they still took place all in that one decade, to where maybe they're doing the same with this if it gets successful enough.
Right. I thought it was a limited series.
That's what I thought too, but it's not, hasn't progressed anywhere. I mean, if they end it and it's a limited series, I guess they could probably wrap it up. Right. But the way it's going, because it's only concentrated on the 79 to 80 season.
Right. Huh.
That's it. So it hasn't jumped forward in time at all. Hasn't done any of that.
Well, I wouldn't be mad at a good sports show.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's...
trying to think of it's the last good sports show. Coach?
Arliss?
I never even saw that. I always hear about that, though.
Yeah, Coach probably...
Remember Coach?
Yeah.
My mom used to watch that all the time.
I love that. I watched that a lot. And
good old Craig
when it was in syndication, because I think it was like it would be on at like 11:30 at night or something like that.
On like Nick at Night or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wasn't Jerry Van Dyke in that show? Okay. Jerry Van Dyke.
Craig T. Nelson.
That's right.
But yeah, I watched that. And then I watched a Netflix movie called Metal Lords. This was based off a recommendation
Metal Lords
of somebody I work with. It's a teen comedy. Okay. And I say that in quotes because there are some funny parts.
Oh, metal, like heavy metal.
Metal.
I think I've seen like the title, but didn't really get into it.
Has the kid from It in there. And it's fine. It's a teen movie.
Okay.
It's fine. But it was recommended by a person I work with.
Was it funnier than The Bubble?
Yes. Well, I don't know.
Okay.
They were, but I mean, it was a teen comedy, so it was like, it was fine. It was.
Would you recommend that I see it?
No,
you
don't need to. It's got a 6.7 out of 10.
Okay.
Which is
that's.
I mean, it's fine. It was a very. I mean, it was a competent movie or whatever, and characters had arcs. Some of the stuff was like a little cheesy or whatever, but it's a teen movie. What
is it like what's that movie with Jacob Tremblay and two other little kid actors? I saw a movie. It was like, because they're all 12 years old and in a middle school, and it was like a hard R-rated comedy. And I remember thinking, I don't want to see a hard R-rated comedy with a bunch of 12-year-olds.
Good Boys or something.
Yeah. And then I watched it and I was pleasantly surprised that it was actually a pretty heartfelt, decent comedy. I think it's called Good Boys. But it was a nice little coming of age movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely hard R, but it wasn't like crazy raunchy, like inappropriate for. They were innocently, innocent characters discovering stuff. They weren't like.
It wasn't kids being raunchy for the sake of being raunchy. And, and it's funny because you have a child saying fuck.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. No, this one wasn't really coming of age at all, because I enjoy coming of age movies. This really didn't have that. It was more of because like the whole thing was like the climax was at a Battle of the Bands thing. So it was kind of
like School Rockish.
Yeah. A little bit, I guess. But yeah.
Okay. All right.
The guy I worked with recommended it. I was like, okay, I'll watch it. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I recommend The Americans though.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should definitely take the time to see that.
Check it out. I've heard multiple people saying that it was a good show.
Yeah, Kerry Russell's awesome, and Matthew Reese is really good. He's actually very good in Perry Mason too.
Yeah,
that was a show that just came on HBO.
I didn't see that. That was just one season, wasn't it?
So they're gonna make another one, but yeah, that was a really good show.
Was it? Now, is that like a is that kind of like mystery, like noir?
That's all it is. Mystery noir. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I might have to watch.
It's pretty good.
I like that.
It's not going to blow your mind, but it's entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
For the sake of being entertaining.
Yeah, we got to watch the last season of Ozark. A new season of Barry came out, which I don't know if you see that.
I never have. I heard it's good.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
And
there's just so much, Jay.
I know there's too much.
There's too much shit.
Too much.
But I finished Ozark. Obviously, we'll talk about that next time. But that'll be a good discussion to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So cool.
Something
else. The final or second trailer for Jurassic World Dominion. And I sent you a text last week.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, hey, this came out. We should talk about it.
Yep.
And what do you think of the trailer?
Meh.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to talk about it.
It's meh.
Because I watched it and I was like, this looks like the biggest piece of dog shit. How much money are they throwing at this for the last gasping breath? It's not going to be the last. They're going to keep making these things.
I know, in perpetuity.
But
did you have the same feeling when the part in the trailer came up where he makes a promise to the dinosaur, I'm gonna find your kid, like I can't even remember what the dinosaur's name is. I'm thinking in my head, really? We're making promises to dinosaurs, and literally 10 seconds later,
Jeff Goldblum makes fun of that moment.
Points it out, and I'm like, okay, we've crossed the Rubicon here.
It's now making fun of itself.
Yes,
and which doesn't make it okay. That still doesn't
exactly.
We're gonna call out how ridiculous it is in the movie,
right?
So that way it's okay. No, it's still stupid.
Exactly. I've talked about this I don't know how many times.
Just because you make fun of yourself doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. Yeah,
exactly. It doesn't give you creative license to do whatever you want.
Yeah, we're doing it ironically. No, why are you doing it? It's
yes.
Like, what's your point? Are you shitting on your own franchise? What is the purpose of doing it like that? You're either making a serious movie or you're making schlock, and you're making crap, which at that point, why? Other than for maybe a paycheck.
Yeah. Of course that's what it's for. But I mean, yeah, and there's a lot of similar beats. It's the same plot. They even in the trailer they mentioned, it's the biggest dinosaur history has ever seen. It's like every movie they have to up the ante on how big the dinosaur is. It's like, okay, is this one as big as the Empire State Building or as big as Texas? It's like Independence Day Resurgence, where the ship, it's not enough that it's as big as Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
It's covering the continent of North America.
I think with that might be a real dinosaur they think existed, because there were some nerds in the comment section saying, if they bring out Gigantogorosaurus or whatever the fuck it was called, they're like, they better not do him dirty. And I'm like, what?
What does that mean?
I was like, of course they are. It's this final movie in this trilogy.
Yeah. Do him dirty.
I don't. After watching it, I had no. I don't care. Like, the second one was very forgettable. Money. It's the only reason why they're making more is money, and
it's following the same formula as Star Wars and every other soft reboot, where you have the same old characters come in, and you even have Jeff Goldblum with the T-Rex waving like the flares in the trailer.
And
remember when I did this in the first one? Remember everybody?
I like to know who obviously it's money, but who are they making it for?
I think right now they're trying to make it for everybody.
Yeah.
They're trying to pull in the new audience and like, hey, Chris Pratt's in it. You like Chris Pratt.
Well, I mean, like this particular movie, because the second one didn't do too well, did it?
It did.
It did?
It made like $1.3 billion.
Well, I guess so did the Transformers up until forever. But
until the fifth one, people got tired of it.
Only made $750 million instead of a full billion.
Exactly.
So,
it recouped its budget back.
Yeah. Well,
one or the other.
You want to get into
the
awesomeness?
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the Bubble first. So, Bubble came out this year. It's directed by Judd Apatow and written by Judd Apatow along with some others, Pam Brady. And the Bubble came out on April 1st on Netflix, and it is about a group of actors and actresses stuck inside a pandemic bubble at a hotel. as they attempt to complete a film. Comedy.
That is what it's about. It's a perfect synopsis of this movie.
Yep. What did you think of The Bubble?
I'm not saying this is trying to be hyperbolic. It is the worst movie of this year so far. Hands down. I didn't enjoy 1 second of it. I even texted you 30 minutes into when I was watching it and said, I don't know if I can finish this fucking thing.
Yeah. Yeah. You said, I'm going to, wait, here, hold on.
It was, Jay, it's a pile of dog shit.
You said, dude, I am 30 minutes into The Bubble and I'm seriously want to jump off a bridge. I'm so close to just turning it off. And I said, finish it.
Yes.
You said, I will, but Jesus. All right.
So when I say the worst movie, I know that there's other movies out there that I'm sure are poorly made and not as good as The Bubble. Like, say a Bruce Willis direct-to-video movie. I'm sure I would enjoy it. The Bubble's a more well-made movie than that movie is. But The Bubble, I get no sense that anyone tried to do anything. There's no attempt to try to do anything. It's just nonsense, and people threw words together in a script, and they hired their friends to say the nonsense lines around this vague concept of, hey, we're in a bubble, it's a pandemic, let's make fun of the situation and see where the movie goes. But there's no discernible story arc at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it reminded me of an SNL skit that's stretched into 2 hours, like Night at the Roxbury or Superstar or Ladies Man, any one of these bits that works for like 8 minutes and then all the jokes run out and then that's it. That's what The Bubble is.
I was going to feign my excitement for this movie and just like kind of build it up like, oh no, see, you don't get it. And because it's about this and this and I honestly don't even have the energy to do that with this, because it, like you said, it's,
yeah. Jay, what did you think of it? We didn't get to this.
I thought it was a nothing thing. I'm glad we're talking about 2 movies this week because
how do you even dive into it?
There were a couple of things that I liked in it, but it was so, and everyone's touched on this that's seen it. It's so all over the place.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the point was to where, all right, so I don't know if you felt this way. I know I have. At least some days you're at work.
Mm-hmm.
If you're having a shit day or something and you kind of take a step back and you sit and you're thinking like, what the hell am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. Like, is this what I should be doing? Could I be doing something better? Could I be doing something like
I think we've all felt that, Jay.
How did Judd Apatow not feel like that every day while this was being edited? The only way I could think of him not feeling that way is if he wasn't there while it was being cut together, because he didn't. That's how little of a fuck he gave on this movie.
Right.
Yeah, it felt like a bunch of random ideas.
Yep.
That, oh, this would be funny. Throw it in there. This would be funny. Throw it in there. Felt really all over the place. There were there was a couple of times I chuckled, and it was when Karen Gillan was pissing her pants. The dinosaur yelled at her, screaming at her, and because the studio heads wanted to silence her, so they just made her character piss themselves.
She said, "You can stop doing that."
That I thought was funny, but it.
See, in isolation, that is funny, Jay. But I was so angry at the movie up until that point where I didn't even laugh. I was just like, I need to get this shit over with. I did giggle. The only time I did giggle was when the first 5 minutes of the movie where Karen Gillan was going through her filmography and she plays like an Israeli Pakistani descent. And she's
Israeli, half Pakistani.
She's trying to do the accent and she's just awful at it. So yeah, I giggled at that. That was pretty good. But
and there was what good all right, I'll touch on like two good things that I like.
Okay.
Pedro Pascal and Maria Bakalova.
Who's
Uh,
Maria Baklava?
she played
Baklavava.
the receptionist, the hotel
That
receptionist
he's trying to bang the whole
that is
time.
trying to bang the whole time. Those two
Okay.
together, I was like, okay, that's like, he was probably my favorite part of the movie, and then those two together, I thought were really well. Um, and so I enjoyed some aspects of that, of their back and forth, or just his character. Because that's, I mean, he was so one dimensional, but he did it so well that he's like, oh, my character wants sex. Okay. Um, but I like that. I like the cliff scene. And the only when they just start, when they just
Oh,
let
hanging
go
there.
and they're just hanging there.
Yeah.
And the only
'Cause they're
reason why I
sick.
like that is because of the visual, to where usually you see that with the green screen. You don't see it with the finished effects, to where it just kind of, it looked weird and it
Right.
looked unique. And I was like, oh, I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
That's why I made note of it. Other than that, um, I thought 60 minutes in, I thought they were going somewhere, and if they would have continued with it, because I paused this movie, I think probably 3 or 4 times to
Hmm.
see how much time was left. And I think it was
It was the
it,
18th
it was the
time.
second or the third time that I paused it.
Yeah.
It was right around the 60-minute mark. And when the corporate heads were talking, like, you had one direct report going to their superior, and then, like, so you had Kate McKinnon going to, was it John Lithgow,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And then
and
John Lithgow went to like
went to his superior, and
Senegalese
they kept
guy.
saying the same thing. And
Yeah.
the other, well, get it done. I know you're the person to, like, that
Yeah, yeah.
bullshit corporate speak that everyone's said.
heard. Yeah.
I thought that's where they were going to go, and I thought it was going to go on a commentary as far as how corporations or businesses take advantage of workers.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to make a statement on that. Nope. That was about it. And because Karen's character, Karen Gillan's character, was trying to, I mean, not unionize, but hey, why are, like, this is horrible. They're keeping us here. We shouldn't be, because I thought they were going to talk about, what they call them during the pandemic, necessary workers,
Essential workers.
essential workers. Yeah, that dumb thing.
Yes.
I thought they were going to, like, go in that direction, to where, oh, it's going to be a commentary on, like, modern day corporate America kind of a thing, and that this is the metaphor for
That would have made it more interesting. Yeah.
But it didn't.
No.
It touched on it for 30 seconds and then moved on
That's all
without saying
surface level
anything.
shit.
Yeah. And so I don't know why they, I mean, were they all bored?
I don't know. That's what makes it so frustrating. Judd Apatow has written some great movies, and Pam Brady is South Park writer. She wrote Team
Mhm.
America: World Police, one of the funniest movies
Mm-hmm.
I've ever seen. That's what makes it even more disheartening. I just don't. Yeah, it's just all lazy shit. And when you have talent like that, like Karen Gillan, Pedro Pascal, David Duchovny, Keegan-Michael Key,
Mm-hmm.
they're
David
all
Duchovny,
funny.
he had a couple of scenes in there that I thought was decent.
Yeah.
But,
And you have a production budget. Obviously, they blew it all on like the effects.
mm-hmm.
And you could, it would even have been funnier if like the effects were cheesier.
Yeah.
You don't
I mean,
have-
make a comment. I mean, everything that they did, or they tried to, like, oh, aren't actors so weird? Tropic Thunder did it better. And they
Right.
did it a million times better.
Oh,
And the
God,
fact that I'm pretty sure Ben Stiller and Judd Apatow are really good friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
To where, like, I was watching this, I was like, you ripped off a very good friend of yours off of a better movie.
Yeah.
They even get away the same way, off in a helicopter.
Yes.
And they try and point out their absurdity of their role in the world,
Yeah.
but everything that they even alluded to or talked about, Tropic Thunder did a lot better.
Yep.
It was just
Well, and let's touch on that thing that we talked about last week, where, is this style of comedy dead in the water? I've kind of described it as like this over exaggeration of the situation you're in the conversation.
But I mean, as far as that style of comedy, it's, I think so. But I mean, I don't even know if it was the style. Like, it would feel unfair saying this style of comedy is dead because of this movie, just simply because there were so many other issues with the movie.
Oh yeah,
that the comedy may have worked if the writing or the story structure was better, or if the main, because if the direction was better, if it was trimmed down, if it was made sense as far as who the story was about.
Sure.
Like maybe he can't do ensemble casts.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just a
could be. And you're right. That's a good point. Maybe it's a little harsh saying it's dead because you're right. There are a lot of other things that are wrong with it. Like who's the main character in this, Jay?
I was going to bring that up because I thought it was
Karen Gillan.
No, I thought it was, well, based on the intro of the movie, I thought it was going to be the two, what are their names? Harry Trevaldwin played Gunther, and Samson Kao. As Bola.
Like the servants?
Yeah, I thought it was the two, servants or whatever they were.
Assistants.
I thought it was going to follow them to where it was going to be them trying to wrangle all of these larger than life personalities.
That's a much better idea.
And I thought that's what it was going to be about.
Right.
And then it shifted over to Karen Gillan and then she was the main character.
Right.
After that. And then we barely saw. So I don't.
Yeah, there's no structure.
Yeah.
Like all of his other movies, everyone, like 40-Year-Old Virgin, you followed Steve Carell in his story arc. Knocked Up, Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
This is 40, Leslie Mann and Paul Rudd. Funny People, Adam Sandler, Trainwreck, Amy Schumer, King of Staten Island, Pete Davidson. You had a central character that was obvious to who you were following. They were flawed, and there was an arc to that story where they would learn something in the end. All those movies had that.
Yeah.
This doesn't have that. It's just, like you said, ensemble and random jokes thrown in there.
Yeah.
And satirizing the situation.
Yeah. The main character was an issue because then you didn't know who to root for. I
rooted for it to be over.
Yeah.
Like the last straw to me, Jay, was the Beck scene. It's like, all right, we got 10 minutes to kill. Oh, I got a favor. I can call him to Beck. You want to see if you can virtually join us, and we'll just write a little something and see what he does, and then we'll have the actors just dance all idiotically.
That's when I thought they were still going to go in that direction of how corporations treat the labor force.
Yeah,
and I thought that because when that happened, I was like, oh, that feels like the equivalence of a pizza party or something like that. Good job, guys. We got 40% margin this quarter, and
hey, we're doing a company picnic. Hey,
pizza party, guys, for your hard work.
That's right. Join the raffle and win yourself a 26-inch TV.
So when that came up, I kind of giggled because I thought that's what it was, like a morale booster. Like, oh, here's Beck singing for you guys, and But yeah, it was just.
But you have to comment on the situation. The characters have to comment on the absurdity of like you
making
just said.
It obvious in case you're too stupid to
exactly. But they're not even doing that.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be a commentary on the workforce in corporations today. Nope. I thought it was going to be a commentary on the entertainment industry. It wasn't even that. It was. The only commentary they had is they had said little tongue-in-cheek lines of, oh, it's our responsibility to make people happy again. And then they said, well, people are actually dealing with some real shit. And that's about as far as that went. So it just didn't say anything. It was.
Nah. And it is sort of offensive to people that did lose their livelihoods and their jobs when they have that montage of them in quarantine for 10 to 15 minutes and they're losing their minds because they're in a room for 14 days.
Yeah.
With
I thought
room service and doing whatever the fuck they wanted to do.
Yeah. That I felt was a very privileged look at quarantine.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Oh, I got to be in here for 2 weeks before I can work.
Yeah. On a movie, playing make believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, even if they kept, it kind of would be funny because they had 2 quarantines. to where if they just kept doing it, to where they had like 5.
Yes,
it's
satirize
like,
it.
It's like every like,
Yes.
Out of quarantine, we're back. They shoot one scene, and then it's like 3 hours later, like, guys, we got to go back.
Yes.
And so you can see them just like slowly devolve
into madness.
Yes. Again, would be a better movie. And
That's
then
right.
you could have the two, Gunther and Bola, having to deal with that stuff, and everyone just losing their minds around them.
You could have made this movie satirizing how corporations treat their workers and the ridiculousness of COVID restrictions, tailored with that.
Yeah. And what being essential actually means. Because you could have had that whole thing like, nope, you guys are essential. We got to bring to where they're just kept in there by the time they get out. It's like been 2 years or something ridiculous to where everything's over by now. And whatever they were doing is wasted anyways. But, they could have done so much with that. But I feel like watching this, it felt like these, like Judd Apatow, like, at the end of a year, sometimes when you work with a company and you have a surplus in the budget, and shit, we gotta spend the money, or else it goes away. To where I feel like Judd Apatow had a timeline or a deadline to where, I get to do a movie, but I got to do it right now. And okay, who wants to join in this, or who needs money while everyone's shut down?
But I mean, it wasn't satirical like a Monty Python movie.
It was just pointless.
Yes,
it was nothing. It was
a giant nothing burger.
Yeah, it was a very polished nothing.
Yeah,
and
it would have been interesting too if maybe they went the Christopher Guest route and did like a mockumentary of it,
and
like Waiting for Guffman, and
I thought about that, to where because again, like Tropic Thunder, at the end it's the documentary that gets shown at the award show, not the actual movie itself. That's
right.
And
I forgot about that.
To where if that was the case, they should have had because they had the guy in there several times shooting the behind the scenes stuff. But that would have been a better movie. I don't know.
It was like the previews before Tropic Thunder, where they had the fatties and booty sweat and that ridiculous movie.
Get some of Alpo's ass water, that'll set you straight.
What was that? What was the preview with Robert Downey Jr. and Tobey Maguire? The two gay priests.
Saints.
Got something. Saints Under Fire. Saints in Love. I don't remember. But it was like the Bubble felt like one of those previews stretched out into a feature-length film. That's what it was. It was just garbage, dumpster fire. Ugh.
Yeah, it was nothing.
Because Judd Apatow, his comedies always have a protagonist that you can see is like a real person. It's like a real character. This one doesn't have any of that. Like, I don't think any of these people exist in real life.
Yeah, they're all cartoon characters.
Yes. It's a Looney Tune.
I mean, it's just so it boggles like
Jay. It fucking sucked.
Who?
It sucked.
Like, he had to have known this was just dog shit. Like, how
I'd
love to be on that set, because no one's super excited. Like, as soon as they start seeing dailies or they start seeing rough cuts, I want to be in that room to where they're just like, oh my God, we shouldn't have done this. And have some poor bastard in the corner who's like, I fucking told you.
Right.
Like, this is a result of everyone saying yes.
Jason, it's the worst movie so far. It's going to be tough to knock it off the perch.
Yeah. It's, well, the rating on it, 4.7. And I made note of that, is that it got a 4.7. Yeah. But that'll lead into our next conversation. But the other thing, can we stop with the quote unquote funny drug scenes in movies? Have we done them all? Can we fucking stop?
I don't know if we can.
Jesus.
Did you even laugh at that?
I'm not a fan of drug scenes in movies unless it serves a point to the story. And it could be funny, but just random drug scenes in movies just in comedies to be like, oh, now we're going to get stoned or we're going to get drunk or we're going to do something because it'll be funny because we'll be stoned or drunk
Right.
or high or, oh, so and so took a bunch of coke or speed and
hilarity is gonna ensue.
Yeah.
It's lazy.
It's
well, a good drug scene that I can think of off the top of my head. My favorite one is The Wolf of Wall Street, when they take all the Quaaludes and DiCaprio is like struggling to get back to his car, and
pretty good.
That's
and that's not even the kind of, that's more of a, I guess I mean mainly in comedies, which Wolf of Wall Street was a comedy, but like teen comedies or something like that. Like people sitting around smoking weed and like, shut the fuck up. Like it just sucks and it's not funny. I wasn't a fan of Cheech and Chong movies because of that, because it's just, it was lazy.
Yeah.
It always felt lazy. Was it Knocked Up when they took the shrooms and they go to, it was amusing when it came out. Oh, there's too many chairs in this room. Kind of, it doesn't service the story. It's pulling you out of the movie.
Yeah.
Here's a fun little skit. People act.
We got to fill some time.
Here's actors acting like they're stoned. Got it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep. And people have probably done some crazier shit.
Yeah.
Being stoned or high or whatever. It's probably a lot funnier than stacking chairs. Or whatever the case may be.
And I mean, if you're going to do drug scene, have it service the story some way or another.
Yeah. Well, in The Bubble, I don't think any scene serviced the story. It was just a string of
now we got to do
nonsense jokes.
Now here's this skit.
Yes.
Here's this bit. Here's
Jay, you should have let me jump off the bridge when I texted you. I plan on doing it.
It's just nothing. And I knew it sucked. And I'm glad you finished it because I didn't want to talk about it by myself.
Yeah. Yep.
But we do not recommend The Bubble.
Wait, you don't recommend The Bubble?
I do not.
Okay, I don't either. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It sucks. Shitty movie.
If I was a studio head, which I'm not, and I never will be, but if I was a money person, Judd Apatow came up to me with a project, I'd just tell him no. I'm like, no, man, you're done.
After that?
Yeah, you're fucking done.
Yeah.
I didn't watch King of Staten Island because I can't stand Pete Davidson and his butthole eyes. I don't find him funny. I guess I'm too old for that. I don't know.
What don't you like about Pete Davidson?
I haven't seen anything that makes me like, oh,
there's a star.
Yeah, that's someone that should make it.
There's the next Bill Murray.
Yeah, like the only thing I've seen him in is SNL skits. And most people off SNL I can look at, forget, and then they can go off and whatever. But like an Andy Samberg, when I first saw the digital short, The Chronicles of Narnia, that him and
Chris Parnell.
Yeah, Chris Parnell.
Yeah.
Did. First time I saw that, I was like, that's funny. That's really good. I don't know who that guy is, but he's hilarious.
Yeah.
Immediately. And again, I was younger. That was 2000, whenever.
7, 8.
Yeah, I was in college at the time. And I was like, that's pretty funny. Everything he had some dud skits or whatever, but he was consistently good.
Yeah.
The stuff that I've seen Pete Davidson in, which the same reason I do not like Jimmy Fallon, is people who are on SNL who quote unquote break character on the show.
You've talked about this.
I hate that with a passion. That's the ultimate form of laziness. So you have people cussing in things thinking that's what makes it funny.
Right.
And then you have people on SNL like a millimeter above that breaking character, which I think they do on purpose because they know, oh, this skit sucks.
Yeah.
And I can't fucking deliver it, or I can't even save it, or it's just not working. So instead of
Or I forgot my line, and to
yeah,
fill
I
the
forgot
gap, I'm gonna laugh.
yep.
Yeah,
And or I'm not getting enough attention. So which I think was Jimmy Fallon's case a
sure.
lot to where
Well, he broke character like
all the time.
all the time.
Which either means he's a shit actor, yes.
Yes, it's fair.
He is.
Yeah.
He's not good at keeping a straight face, which is probably true, but I wouldn't have him on any skits. Like him laughing is not enjoyable. I'm like, it's the fucking point.
Right.
Like, I just don't, I'm not a fan of people breaking character on purpose. I think he did it on purpose because he wasn't funny to begin with. It was either he had two shticks. He had breaking character or he had singing versions of songs.
In a funny voice.
Yep. But Pete Davidson strikes me as someone who's similar to that, to where he hasn't broken character, but he's I'm in on the joke. I'm cool. I'm hip. I just don't get it. He hasn't done anything that has made me laugh.
Right. Or stand out.
Yeah. The only thing I thought he was somewhat decent in is Chad or something. There's some recurring skit to where he plays an idiot. To where like someone's like pouring out their heart to him. He's like, huh? Okay. All right. Uh-huh. Okay. I mean, that's the whole thing.
That's the skit.
That's the skit. And
I haven't watched SNL in years. So I don't even know anymore.
I don't know. I just don't get the appeal.
It sounds like you're describing Zendaya from Spider-Man, where she's just too cool. And
yeah, and she's not a real person.
Right. She's just too cool for everything. And nothing's funny, or like, oh, you're just stupid. That's what is that Pete Davidson's comedy?
I guess if you'd call it,
or I just don't care. Nothing really shakes me.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him in a movie. It was the sequel. It was James Gunn's Suicide Squad. He was in there.
Didn't he get his head blown off? Like,
yeah, I mean that's pretty good.
5 minutes in,
that's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he hasn't done any, like everyone talks about how hilarious he is, and I haven't seen anything. And maybe it's the same thing. Like my father said the same thing about Jim Carrey.
Yeah, could be. You could be your father.
Yeah, I could be.
There you go.
I'm just out of touch. I could be just too old. Maybe I don't get it.
Pete Davidson is this generation's Jim Carrey.
Could be.
Could be. We're just a couple old codgers.
But I don't. I don't get the appeal, and I don't know if it's like a bad boy image thing to where.
Well, he's dating Kim Kardashian now.
Yeah.
Still Kanye's lady. Stole it right out from under him. That makes him cool, right?
Sure.
I don't know.
I guess.
Yeah. Not really interested.
Yeah, I don't get the appeal of him.
Yeah. Well, I saw King of Staten Island. It was okay. Good. I mean,
the only reason why I wanted to watch that is Bill Burr.
Bill Burr's really good in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is for sure.
It's because he's a good actor.
He plays the guy who wants to date his mom. Yeah, it's good. Marissa Tomei again plays the hot mom. Hey, we need the hot mom role. Who are we gonna get?
Marissa Tomei.
There's our lady.
Yeah. But
no, he's not. He doesn't stand out as like just a comedic genius in that movie though. He has some funny lines, but it's nothing to stand out at all, really.
And so I would say no to Judd Apatow.
Yeah,
he's in. I was gonna say maybe he should just start doing drama.
Yeah.
I feel like because The King of Staten Island was that a comedy or was it kind of a drama, kind of a
same tone as This Is 40.
Okay. So
funny people.
I mean, if you want to lean that direction. I don't think comedy is his bag anymore.
No. He was trying to be James L. Brooks with like As Good as It Gets or Terms of Endearment. That's what the tone of his later movies remind me of.
Okay.
Judd Apatow's where it's supposedly a comedy, but there's like tragedy that happens in the story. And obviously Judd Apatow focuses on like married relationships.
Yeah. And which I think is fine. I think you should just really dive into that and not worry about the comedy. I think funny people I would have received that movie better if I knew what kind of movie I was going into.
Sure.
But because of the marketing, it was set up differently. Knocked Up, 40-Year-Old Virgin, his two best things, comedies, I think had a lot more to do with the cast than it did with um, his direction.
Yeah.
Um, because everyone in those movies had great timing. You had they were riffing back and forth slightly, so I feel like there was more of a story structure present because it was before the improv movies were
Yeah.
started becoming a thing or more and more popular. But I think it was mainly because of the actors, not because of him. Yeah, if he, I don't know, if he came to me with a comedy, I'd be like, no, you don't. You're not funny.
So if he came with you at you with a drama, maybe you'd hear him out at least. Maybe
Like,
give him.
like a
All right,
silence.
give me a 5-minute elevator pitch. I'm in between meetings, Judd.
Oh, it's about this guy who kills women and wears bodysuits made from the skin of women. Sold. I want to see you direct that.
Yeah.
Something like really out of the ordinary. I wouldn't mind him because he makes long movies. I love long movies. That movie was just too damn long. The Bubble.
Yeah, over 2 hours.
Does not need to be 2 hours.
Unbelievable.
Or even if it was just kind of like a they could have just structured it differently to where it could have been the assistants as main characters, but structured similar to like Four Rooms, to where they had each room as a separate thing, to where it was just them going to location on the set, and they just walk in and this weird shit happens. They're like, okay, that was weird, and then they got to go because they get a call to something else, and it's just that I feel like it would have been a little bit better because narratively it would have made sense to hop around from all these different instances. But
yeah,
again, that would have taken effort to do.
Yep.
I mean, it's sad because it could have been a cool idea and it could have been done very, very well. And I don't know if they were just crunched on time or maybe they couldn't get all the actors consistently at the same time because of COVID. I don't know when it was shot. So I don't know what kind of restrictions were in place. But if that's the case, having that many famous people in your movie, I guess would be a logistical nightmare. And nice try. And maybe they just had everything going wrong for them. But I don't know. I feel like it could have been a cool idea if they would have just gave it a couple more passes as far as develop the narrative structure a little bit better. Then I think it would have worked at least a little bit better.
Yeah. Try anything different.
Yeah. But I don't know what limitations they had. Maybe it was just a shit storm. All of them were like, fuck this.
It's in my contract.
Piece of shit.
I got to do it. Yeah, so. Could be. Well, then you get the bubble. You want to talk about something else, Jay?
Yeah.
This makes me depressed.
We're going from that COVID film to a different COVID film called Windfall.
Yes.
Windfall also came out this year, directed by Charlie McDowell and written by Charlie McDowell. Jason Segel did the story. Screenplay was done by, what's his nut? Seven.
Andrew Kevin Walker. Yeah.
Windfall is about a man breaks into a tech billionaire's empty vacation home, but things go sideways when the arrogant mogul and his wife arrive for a last-minute getaway. What'd you think about Windfall?
We'll start with you, Jay. What did you think about Windfall?
I thought it was decent. I mean, I thought it was worth watching if you're into. It's a slower film, which is fine, but I enjoyed it. It felt very Hitchcockian. It felt like a stage play. It could have been a stage play. So it felt like the writers were very present in the movie, but I thought the acting was decent and good in certain scenes. But it felt old timey. I thought the music. I enjoyed the music. The symmetry of shots, especially towards the beginning. It felt like a well thought out movie. And I was surprised. The rating on IMDb was 5.7.
Yeah, that's a little low.
Yeah. And the Bubble was 4.7. What the hell did I watch that was 6.7 recently? Oh, Metal Lords
Oh, Metal Lords
was 6.7. And I'm like, but no, I really liked it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a rewatch movie.
Yeah.
There's kind of a twist. But I enjoyed it. Thought the acting was done well. I really enjoyed the music. It felt like an older film, and but kind of felt like an old, like offbeat Hitchcock film.
Yeah.
To where you knew all the different elements, you knew everything there, and you were just kind of waiting to see how is this going to end, kind of a thing.
Yeah. No,
what do you think?
I agree. No, I would give it like a solid B minus, maybe C plus B minus, like that range. I agree with you. That's the first thing I wrote down. The opening sequence, I felt like, okay, this is like 50s, 60s Hitchcock. Even with the title credits, it reminded me of like Rear Window or
and the poster. Like,
yes,
like I I like movies that do those little artistic details of style to kind of call back to other things or to set the theme or the tone that you want with a film. I love it when directors or producers do that with their films.
Yeah. And I liked the score was the best part of the movie. I thought it was just an awesome score. It really highlighted, especially when it came in the background, it actually highlighted the actors' performances when there was no dialogue in the scene, especially Jason Segel, the very beginning of the movie where he's kind of just exploring the space and kind of just taking his time. Like the score kind of amps that up a little bit when he's just poking around. I thought the performances were very good. Jesse Plemons, I thought, knocked it out of the park. I like him a lot. He's very good.
Yeah, he does a great job at kind of playing a
dick. Yeah, he does.
And yeah, he's really good at that.
Yep. I like the single setting. I enjoy single setting movies like Rear Window or 12 Angry Men or Panic Room or whatever, because you focus more on the situation and the dialogue and the characters than you do what's going on around, like The Bubble with all this stupid shit going on. This is just single setting. You're focused in on the dialogue, the story, plot lines, performance. Like you said, a stage play. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. And this, I think, is a great example as far as if you were going to make a movie during COVID lockdown or during a lot of precautions or barriers, obstacles in place that keep you from doing a big budget movie like The Bubble, then you do not do that kind of a movie. You do this kind of a movie. You take Robert Rodriguez said, for people making a movie on like a limited budget or limited options, one of the ways to get around it is find out what you have available to you and then build it around that.
Yeah.
So think of anything cool you have. Do you know someone who has a cool car? Great. Use it in your movie. Right. Do you know someone who has a cool looking house or a cool looking backyard or a cool looking building that you can have access to? Put it in your movie and build a story around that.
Right.
So, granted, this only had one location, but I felt like Charlie McDowell and Jason Segel, because Jason Segel pitched the story to, I believe, Charlie McDowell and kind of brought up, oh, we should do this movie during, like, I think they were 2 months into the COVID lockdown. They're like, hey, we should
do this. This is a good opportunity to do this.
Do this. I think it was a great way to where, okay, we want to make a movie. We still want to be doing something with this time. Here's our limitations. What do we have available, or how can we bring an engaging story to life with all these limitations, but we can do it in one location. We can do it with limited crew, limited actors. And I thought it was a very good execution of that.
Yeah. I liked that they didn't go down the path that I thought they were going to go down in terms of the story arc. I thought that Jason Segel and the wife were going to be in on something together. The very first scene where she catches him and he points to her and says, shh, and she like abides by it, which I thought was like, why didn't she make a sound? Normally a wife would just like scream and freak out.
I kind of want to, which Spoilers, by the way, we're gonna be.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about.
So, do you recommend Windfall?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go watch Windfall. If you've seen Windfall, then welcome. Yeah, I thought it was going to be. Yeah, I thought they were going to be in cahoots somehow.
Yeah.
And, but it was that dialogue at the campfire.
Yep.
Then I was like, oh, okay, they're not.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad they didn't go that way.
Yeah, or they like run away together or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
What did you think of the ending?
I liked it actually, because they did set that up pretty good. I thought pretty good. They set it up like, why would she do that? You know, why would she? Because you felt like she empathized with the guy through most of the movie, and she didn't really like her husband all that much. But when Jason Segel's character is talking to Jesse Plemons at the end there, and you can tell he just loathes Jesse Plemons. He hates him. He's got to take something from him. Like, I know something you don't. You know, you're trying to have a kid, and your wife's been on birth control for a month.
Yeah.
But then what he did in doing that was he took the only power that she had in the relationship away from her. And she got so pissed off that she thought that she could do the only thing that she thought at the time to take her power back was, all right, I'm going to kill you, and then I'm going to shoot my husband, and I'll be in full control of everything at that moment in time.
Yeah. And I think
it was well deserved.
Yeah. And because it was twofold that turn for her, because earlier in the movie, he asked her, oh, what was it a tattoo of? And she didn't have a chance to answer. Then when he was about ready to leave, she said, it was a rose. And he's like, what? And he's like, the tattoo on my foot was a rose. And the whole movie, you don't know, you don't even have names for these characters, but you have a sense of who they are up to that point, to where Jason Segel seems like a nice guy. Not, I mean, and then she says, oh, it was a rose. And he's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, you could like that at that instant, you knew it was like, he did not care about her. He didn't care about the CEO.
Yeah.
Any of these people. It was just completely self-interested, which is fine.
Yeah.
Didn't make him a bad person, but that was the first trigger of her. Oh,
you're not who I thought you were.
That definitely solidified it. But that sense of, I don't have anyone in my life that cares about me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I don't think she planned it that way. I think she just acted out of emotion after and then it just kind of fell under her lap.
It was an opportunity.
Yeah.
And at that moment that I think she took hold of.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it.
Yeah. It kind of reflected off her previous comment too, where she was talking about, I think Jason Segel asked her, would you do it all over again? Would you marry him again? And she said, ask me 30 years down the road. I don't know. The opportunity presented itself and I took it, kind of thing. Yep. Yeah, and I like that it was only an hour and 30 minutes. It wasn't long. It didn't really waste any time, which I like. It was definitely, all the fat was trimmed out of it.
Yeah, I have here, nice tight script, no wasted content.
Yeah, I liked the allegory on just overall society. I know we were talking about how corporations treat their employees and all that stuff. I like that dichotomy between Plemons, expressing the corporate interest, and then Jason Segel's the everyday man, and how he gets screwed by, people above him. But I mean, I like both sides of the argument. It's like, what are you going to get mad at me because I created something that everyone likes and I got rich off of it?
Yeah.
And you can understand it from Jason Segel's perspective, where it's like, well, yeah, but I'm losing my job now because what you created made me obsolete. And I don't get anything for that. I'm just left to the, to the wolves. And
it's like, oh, you should have prepared for your job loss.
Exactly.
It's like, when should I have prepared for that?
Right.
And
yeah, but I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. It's just like Jesse Plemons gives the coal miner example. It's, do you want to, or was it the coal miner example where, we're talking about renewable energies? I don't know what example I gave, but something like that. I mean, you get that, but then you feel for the people that are losing their jobs. So you get to this kind of like juxtaposition, like, who do you root for? Who's in the right here? But then Jesse Plemons' character kind of takes it over the edge because he is such a dick in the movie. he doesn't treat his wife, very well, and he's just an overall just not a very good guy. I do like any movie that references Three Amigos. So if if there was an opportunity to do that, or if I was kind of on the fence, the fact that they had that in there,
Why do you think they chose that movie?
I think because it's just that scene that they did show is universally funny, and if you don't laugh at it, you're just a fucking cold, heartless bastard. And Jesse Plemons didn't laugh, right? So you immediately think, "Oh, this guy's a douchebag." He didn't even laugh at the water canteen scene in Three Amigos. This guy has no heart.
You were talking about the debate between the worker and the CEO.
Yeah.
As far as there was a quote I saw earlier today that made me think of that, but it had something along the lines of, there is no morality or decency. There is no evil or whatever. There's just things that people do,
Yeah.
which kind of makes sense in that, to where, yeah, no one's right, no one's wrong. It's just, these are just things that happen, and people make decisions. These are just results of people's decisions. Doesn't make one thing more. The only thing that makes it evil or moral is perspective.
True.
So, but I like how they had that. There was a note I had in here when the gardener died.
Yep.
It was nothing. No one was hurt the entire time until, it may be because my mind was still on the bubble somewhat of thinking, oh, it would have been better if it would have been about corporations taking advantage of workers. But violence didn't break out until the CEO provoked nobody.
Yep.
To the point to where nobody got so frustrated at his position, he fired the gun to prove, don't fuck with me, scared the gardener. He was collateral damage, killed himself on the window, to where I didn't know if, it was probably just a weird occurrence, but I didn't know if it was a point of that, to where, I thought about it. I was like, no one got hurt until the person in power, the CEO, just kept pressuring and pressuring the have not enough to where the have not fired the gun, lashed out, and created violence. To where, I didn't know if that was like a comment. I don't think so, but it was interesting to me when I saw it. It just stood out to me.
Well, now they're going to say it, Jay.
Now they will. The tens of people.
Exactly. That's right. No, but that's probably one of the, I won't say only flaws, but one of the things that was kind of ridiculous about the movie was the gardener freaked out like that and then broke into the glass and then slices his throat on the broken glass. It was a little absurd, but I get what they were trying to do there. You have to
raise the stakes.
You have to raise the stakes a little bit,
because now everything changed.
Yes.
At that point.
Yeah.
And
you know what I thought they should have done is he shoots it and then the bullet ricochets and hits the gardener. That would have been more believable to me. But then it would have been like, okay, Jason Segel feels guilt because he feels like he killed him.
Yeah.
When he does
they
that,
have to absolve the guilt.
Absolve the guilt. But it would have made more sense if it ricocheted and accidentally killed the guy.
At that point, when the gardener died, I knew it wasn't going to end well. Because up until that point, there was still a chance of people just kind of going away. But as soon as the gardener died, I was like, oh, all right.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Someone died. You can't.
Yep.
You can't get away from that.
No.
So, but I thought it was good. Do you think there's anything to the orange?
I was trying to think of that.
So in The Godfather, usually if someone has an orange in the scene, or if the color orange is present, then somebody's going to get killed. The very beginning of the movie, Jason Segel is drinking orange juice and eats an orange.
Yeah.
While they're walking through the orchard later on, Jesse Plemons takes an orange off the tree.
Damn it. Didn't even notice it.
I don't know if Lily Collins, it didn't occur to me until they both died at the end of the movie. And I only saw it once. So I didn't notice if Lily Collins had
I didn't notice
orange juice or anything.
I don't think so.
If she did, then it completely throws it away.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a nod to it. Maybe it was a coincidence, or they had an orange orchard
Yeah.
around them, and they got to
I don't think she did.
like take an orange, make yourself look like an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah. I recommend it. It's definitely higher than a 5.7.
Yeah, as far as movies that have been made during the COVID lockdown, I think this is probably the best one that I've seen so far.
Yeah.
That I'm aware of. I know there are some other experimental movies that people were shooting in their neighborhoods and shit.
Yeah.
That you could tell they were standing 6 feet apart, and I was like, no one wants to fucking watch that.
Right. Kind of like stand-up comedy.
Yeah. No one.
Virtual comedy shows.
Yeah.
Ugh.
God. Kevin Hart in his living room.
Yeah.
What? Nobody.
That's just terrible. Good. I mean, oh God, after the bubble, I mean, maybe that's any watching anything after the bubble could have been a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah. And
I don't know.
I watched The Bubble first.
I did too.
Before I watched Windfall. Because I didn't look at anything about The Bubble before I watched it.
I didn't either.
And I watched it and I was like, oh God, this sucks. And I went and I was like 4.3. I couldn't help myself with Windfall. I went to IMDb's page and I saw 5.7. I was like, oh God damn. I was like, fuck me. All right. And then
pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I read some spoiler-free reviews on IMDb, and it was like, "Oh, nothing happens." Blah. I was like, "It could just be a slow movie." And then push play, and it was like the first scene. I was like, "Ooh, that's symmetrical."
Yeah.
And then it like panned over to another symmetrical shot, and I was like, "Ooh, that's symmetrical too." I was like, "They call it Wes Anderson in this to
your favorite,
do the setting,
your favesies."
Yeah. But no, I thought it was a good little movie.
Yeah.
It felt like a movie. Didn't feel like a TV show.
No. The score was amazing.
Yeah, the music was really
good. It might be my favorite score this year so far. I mean, it was awesome.
Music by Danny Benzie and Sonder. Jesus Christ! All right.
Yeah, there you go. Say it.
What's wrong with the names of like Smith, Clark, things I can pronounce?
Yeah, where's Chuck and Bill?
Jurians, Jurrians. Jarrett. I think they are partners, not.
What, they're not intimate with each other?
Well, I don't know, but they work together a lot.
Yeah,
they did music for The One I Love.
Other Charlie McDonald movies.
Enemy.
Huh?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
The Denis Villeneuve.
And let's see, Outer Range, which I think that'd be.
Oh, is that I kind of want to see that. I love me some Josh Brolin.
Mm-hmm. So, like their score with the supernatural element, I think would be really good. Ozark.
Oh,
they did the music for that. Tokyo Vice. Man, they churned out shit left and right. Elstrom, The Devil All the Time, The Outsider.
Okay. Ooh, The Outsider. That's
American Gods.
Okay.
Now we're getting into some movie. Jesus.
What?
I'm like, oh, they had quite a bit. And I was like, that was just 2017.
I thought you were going to be like, oh my God, they're child rapists.
They've been diddling for years. Well, no, Michael Cappuccino.
Michael Cappuccino?
Who I thought was being stretched too thin because he did 3 movies. These people are pumping out. Of course, I'd have to listen to it again. I don't know if it's more drones and
you're right.
Emotional drones, or I don't know what the fuck.
Maybe like Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
Where you had the Batman score and you kind of just tweak it a little bit for all the movies.
Pull the guitar string and just slightly. And
have you ever seen that? I can't remember what video it is, but they start with the Batman and then they go to like the Spider-Man theme, and then they go to like Beetlejuice. It's like
very
very minor. Very it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's like Ennio Morricone for anything. Well, he has his spaghetti western sound, and then he had his kind of suspense because he did The Untouchables and In the Line of Fire, and those 2 scores I felt like were very, very similar.
Yeah. See Windfall. It's good.
Yep. You have anything else to add?
No. Nope.
Pretty short episode.
Bubbles. Don't see the bubble. At the end of the year, when we talk about like our favorite and worst movies, you know, in 2022, the bubble is going to be hard to top.
I hope I forget it.
It's fucking terrible.
I just don't understand.
I don't get it either.
Like, why waste your time doing it?
I don't know.
Was
it even fun? You think they had fun making that movie?
Maybe.
Like, is that something that came out of it? They enjoyed themselves? Do you think this doesn't even make it off the idea floor, given Netflix's new budgetary constraints and actually picking projects to work on?
See,
do you think this gets greenlit just off Judd Apatow's name?
Yes,
I think you're right. I thought I was onto something there, but I think you're right. I think they would have done it anyway.
And just because he has a name.
Yeah.
Now, if it was some other guy, just some rando that had this idea, I think it probably would have been better, because I feel like a no name would have tried harder at this concept than what Judd Apatow did, or appears to have tried. But because I don't think it's a bad idea, it's just it was done better at Tropic Thunder, and the execution just sucked. But I don't know. I'm speechless, because movies are typically a passion project. You have to be passionate about something, because you're going to be spending at least a year.
Yep.
At least a year doing that story. I could see if Apatow just produced it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why. Unless he just wanted, you know what? I want to make the biggest piece of shit in the world. Like
make it maybe be ironic.
But it's not even smart enough to be like it's not even. It's not even funny accidentally. And
that's a great line, by the way.
What?
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. You're not even funny accidentally.
Or amusing accidentally.
Yeah.
You're a miracle. Your stories have none of that.
Blah, blah, blah.
For days, I can listen to them drone on at conferences. People come up to me like, "Hey, how can you do it?" So I tell them, "I've been with Del Griffith. Like, I know what you mean." Shower curtain guy. Whoa. It's just, it didn't look like anyone cared.
No, maybe it was just an excuse to spend time with your wife and your daughter.
And that could be it too.
That could be it.
Like, hey, don't forget about us. We're still actors, kind of a thing. Which is this better than that Imagine video where all the celebrities were singing
Imagine?
Yeah, I think so. Just because.
Do I think that video was worse than The Bubble?
Yeah, because I couldn't finish that Imagine video.
That's a good point.
I turned it off.
Yeah, that's fair. The Bubble's better than...
I think as soon as I saw Will Ferrell on there, because I think he was on there.
He was on there.
Because it was like Gal Gadot like starts it off, and then it was like douchebag, like a couple of fucks, and had a couple of fuck boys in there, and I was like, oh my God, these people are losing their fucking minds.
Yes.
Like I felt like they were having a harder time with the lockdowns than what normal people were.
Right.
Just because
Joe Schmo down the street lost his fucking job.
Yeah. And like I feel like someone who lost their job was sitting there probably watching that video like, Jesus, I'm in a shitstorm right now, but I'm not fucking freaking out like these guys.
Right.
To where they were more concerned about being forgotten.
Yes. And craving attention.
God, it was
a cry for help, Jay.
It was funny to see. It's so fucking tone deaf. And
was there a time? I remember there was a time where we actually cared and took actors seriously. I am not at that point anymore. I don't take anybody seriously anymore.
There's a channel on YouTube called Critical Drinker. Have you ever seen any of his stuff?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He did a video and he kind of touched on the Imagine video.
Okay.
But he I think it was a video titled like the death of the Hollywood star or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Or the death of the movie star or the Hollywood celebrity. And he goes on, he says at the beginning of the video, he's like, back in the 90s and early 2000s, and before that you had celebrities were kind of looked upon as, oh, people high up to where like you would want to be them.
You want to emulate them.
You'd want to emulate them. They seemed likable and friendly, and just they were very good people, and they were very glamorous with class. And that was a result of press releases and PR people and rehearsed questions and answers to press rounds for movies and film junkets and stuff like that, to where it's very highly structured.
It's filtered.
And it's created. It's a brand. It's fake. And he said, then with the advent of Twitter is what brought it all is what slowly started the death. And his reasoning is, which I mean, it makes sense. I think social media is the worst thing that's happened to the internet. Because it gave celebrities an unfiltered voice directly to the fans, and the fans could interact directly with the celebrity.
Yeah.
You no longer had that structured, scripted buffer.
Yeah.
Because before that, it was just red carpet runways and waving to the crowd and
giving selected interviews,
signing
and
autographs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To where you couldn't see the ugly side of somebody. Now everyone has a microphone, and they can't be babysat 24/7.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing the weird, fucking the weird shit,
eccentricities.
You see their fucking weirdness, the dumb shits. Hip hop homonymous, and to where, I mean, you just see them slowly start to degrade, and then this celebrity said something weird. This celebrity said something weird, and then it kind of culminated into the 2020 lockdowns with the Imagine song. And he says, he's like, and I feel like the world as a whole at that time looked at the celebrities and said, "Wow, these people are fucking idiots," and just stopped giving a shit. And I think, I mean, that's the case now, because I mean, now there's a different, anyone can be a celebrity now.
Yeah.
You no longer have to be in movies. You could be in TikToks, or
it's a level playing field,
whatever the hell. So,
yep. You don't have to know someone who knows someone and know someone to be cast in something or to get a shot. You can just do it on your own. Yeah.
And, but yeah, so that was a pretty good video that he did, was the death movie star.
Nice.
But,
yeah. But yeah, that's fair. Bubble is better than the Imagine video. That's the only good thing I can say about it, Jay.
Although the Imagine video probably had more thought, more brain power put in for it.
Yeah.
Which I will say, I was wondering, I haven't seen the whole Imagine video, but I was, the whole time when they were talking about the importance of themselves in the bubble, I was trying to think, I was like, were any of these douchebags in that Imagine video? Or there was another video that was a black and white.
I take responsibility.
Yeah. Fucking Aaron Paul.
Aaron Paul.
God damn it. Like, stop.
It was like a fucking hostage video.
Like
you will say this in the camera. I take responsibility.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. God damn. Oh God.
Jesse, come on.
That'll cure racism.
Exactly.
That'll solve it.
It solves it. It's in black and white, okay?
It wasn't.
There is no color.
Shades.
Do you understand the metaphor that we're trying to go with here? I don't think you do. Yeah. Good times.
People are dumb.
I know. Speaking of dumb, hey, what are we watching next week, Jay?
God. Hopefully it's fucking better than this.
I hope so.
Nah, I'm going to put a needle in my dick. All right. Join us next time
as we put needles in our dicks.
As we talk about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and the Netflix series Ozark. So
those are going to be two good things to talk about.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. So I will binge Ozark between now and then.
Yep, I've already seen it.
We will watch Multiverse of Madness. Good talk.
Yeah.
Talk
Till next
week.
time, Jay.
Yep. Till next time.
Yep.